Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. And a memory came back to me on a television show that I saw part of many years ago called Can You Top This? And I kind of remember seeing the show get started, and I remember they had Danny Thomas on the show. I just remember that. I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but I found a video of it on YouTube last night. And it's the TV show before was a radio panel game show. Comedians told jokes, and one tried to top the other. Sponsored by Colgate Palmolive. It was created by veteran vaudevillian Senator Edward Hastings Ford, who claimed he was taking part in a joke session at a New York Theatrical Club when he conceived the idea. However, the format was quite similar to a prior joke-telling radio series called Stop Me If You've Heard This One. It aired from 1939-1940. It featured Ford and cartoonist Harry Hirschfield as panelists. Many jokes were told on that show. On the radio show, listeners were invited to send in jokes of their own. An average of 3,000 were submitted per week. Host Peter Donald told the best of the jokes, and each one centered on a different topic with a laugh meter, which measured the audience reaction from 0 to 1,000. Knights of the Clown Table were Ford, Hirschfield, and Joe Laurie Jr. They attempted to top listeners with their own jokes, sometimes presented an extra challenge as their jokes had to be pertinent to the topic. So, a person would send in a joke, and the laugh meter would measure it. Then the comedians would try to get a higher reaction from the audience, more laughs or whatever on the meter, to try to top what the joke that the person sent in. If the joke was about Texas or something, the comedians had to do a joke on kind of the same subject matter about Texas or whatever, and that's basically the way the thing worked. Listener whose joke was read received $10 plus $5 bonus for each panelist who failed to outscore it with their own joke, and potential maximum prize of $25 if any joke submitted automatically earned perfect 1,000. The person was guaranteed to win the $25. Every listener whose joke was used received a phonograph recording of Donald telling it on the air. The panelists claimed that together they knew over 15,000 jokes. It debuted on New York's WOR radio in 1940, and NBC picked it up in 1942, and it continued for 12 more years. The TV show, made its television debut on ABC in 1950 and lasted until 1951. That version featured Ward Wilson as host, Ford, Hirschfield, and Laurie as panelists. They were also on the television show as well, the short-lived one. What I saw was a show that briefly came into syndication on 4-Star television in 1970, and was hosted by Wink Martindale. Now, I watched part of it last night, and they had Richard Dawson on the show, the old host of Family Feud, reading the listeners, or the listener who sent in a joke read their joke. And then they had three panelists: Maury Amsterdam from Dick Van Dyke's show. They had Paul Winchell, who was a comedian ventriloquist who used to voice Jerry Mahoney, and comedian Jack Carter. All three of them would tell jokes that had the same type of subject matter as what the viewers sent in, and they tried to get a higher reaction on the joke. What I saw of it, that Richard Dawson read the listener's joke, and then Morgan Amsterdam tied the listener on the audience reaction, and ultimately Richard Jack Carter was the last one to read, one to tell a joke, and he actually outscored the person that sent in the joke. So that's basically what it was. They do, the comedians would do their version of the same subject matter type joke to try to get a higher audience reaction. The viewer would earn $25 for having the joke read by the guest. An additional $25 for each panelist was unable to top the viewer's joke, and $100 and a nice prize, such as an Ampex audio cassette player, if he or she topped all three panelists. The 1970 version was recorded at CBS Television City in Hollywood and was used at different times, making it one of the few game shows to tape in all 4 studios at CBS. At least 36 episodes exist of the radio show, and 9 exist of the television, 1970 television version. The versions they had were in black and white. This was off of old videotape. I would imagine a show being from 1970 probably was shown in color originally, but they're on YouTube. They don't seem there wasn't, they didn't have any color versions, so I don't know if there are any color versions in existence of that show. But it was interesting. I just happened to remember that name of that show, Can You Top This, and I decided to look it up, see if I could get more information on it, and it was an okay show. It only, like I said, it only lasted about less than a year, and Wink Martindale hosted it, and Lou later hosted Tic Tac Dough. And that being said, looking for ideas on what to do future shows on. If it's feasible, I'll research it. I'll do a show of it. That being said, like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.